You're listening to Her Executive Diary, the podcast where ambition meets real life. Every episode, I sit down with powerful, honest women who are leading, building, and figuring it out along the way. Let's get into it. Today's guest is the lovely Laura T. Jones. Welcome, Laura.
Thank you so much, Ruth. Thank you for having me.
No, the pleasure is all ours. I know that this episode is probably going to be a little heavy, but I think it's highly necessary. So I want to get it straight into it. In your own words, let us know, who is Laura?
Okay, so I'll start by saying, yes, my middle name is Laura,
Ah,
but my first name is Tinaye. And basically, when I moved to the UK from Zimbabwe, my parents enrolled me into school, and I noticed that people couldn't pronounce Tinaye,
yeah.
you know? So then I started using my middle name. That's
Mm.
where, I just thought I'd mention that. But other than that, I am an entrepreneur, I'm a women's health advocate, and I've started a platform called Infraian to inform women and educate them on how their bodies work, and just to really put women first, start prioritizing women because of my journey, which I'm sure I'll tell you more about.
Yeah, no, thank you. I mean, I guess before we dive into that, what you've built, I would like to know, yes, you've given your highlight reel of who Laura is, but I really want to know the woman behind the title, behind the name. Who is she? What shaped her identity and to become who you are sat here today?
Okay. So where should we begin? Um, let's go back about 5 years ago. And at that point, I'll just go into it. I faced with infertility, went through IVF, 4 rounds, and that is summarizing it massively. It was quite a traumatic time for me, but that was because in 2018, I was diagnosed with endometriosis, which is where cells similar to the ones that form part of the lining of the womb grow in other places in the body on different organs and cause a lot of pain and, infertility. My husband also had some issues on his part, so we had a lot going on. So unfortunately, we've not actually conceived. We're still going through infertility. So 4 years back, we went through our first round of IVF, and unfortunately, that one, the eggs didn't fertilize. It's quite a process to explain, but basically, when they put the sperm in the egg, they're supposed to, fertilize, and that didn't work. And both of our hearts really broke because we were so desperate, and we thought, wow, you do IVF and it's supposed to work straight away. I didn't expect that. Oh, we can actually fall at the first hurdle. So that was really tough. And me being me, I couldn't just give myself time to heal. I decided we're gonna go straight into another round straight away. So we had another round of IVF, and fortunately, with that one, we got 4 embryos. So how it works is you either freeze the embryos or you can have a fresh embryo transferred straight away.
Okay.
Yeah. So they transferred one embryo, and that one, it felt like it worked for me because I know my body. But at the time, the hospital didn't give me enough progesterone. It was quite a tough thing to go through, and I was literally begging them on the phone, and I was bleeding a lot at the time, and the one thing that could have stopped it was progesterone. But unfortunately, in this country, the NHS will not mix private funding with NHS funding, because any extra drugs would have meant it's a private,
Yeah,
thing
exactly.
that we're doing. So unfortunately, we lost that embryo. And then again, because I am quite a person that likes to fix things, and move on and find a solution. So we went on to our second embryo. That one was frozen. We transferred it, and that one didn't work either. That just didn't work. We had the extra progesterone and everything, but it just didn't work. And then recently, last year, is when we transferred our last 2 embryos.
Oh.
That one was quite hard, very traumatic. because we actually got our first positive.
Oh.
You know, it was really hard because we were so excited, and you know, you just kind of imagine your whole life, you know, and the thing that you've been waiting for so long. And you announce it to your family, and they were all so excited. It's our first positive, and we're just imagining what life is going to look like. And then we go to the hospital, because after an embryo transfer, you have 2 weeks of growing the said embryo. And then they've got to test to see if the HCG, which is a chemical that tells you whether you're pregnant or not, is at an appropriate level. Unfortunately, the chemical for me was not as high as they wanted it. So although I got a positive at home, it wasn't going to progress. Like, the pregnancy wasn't going to progress. And yeah, that one was really hard. I'm going to cry. That one was really hard. Sorry, it's still quite fresh.
It's okay. Should I get you a tissue?
Yes, please. Yeah. Oh my God.
No. Take your time.
You know when you store the trauma and you're like, then it comes out.
That's just being human, Laura. You went through something so hard.
Yeah. Sometimes it just feels like someone else's story. And then when I tell it, I'm like, oh, okay, that's my pain.
Sorry. Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Okay. Like slightly digging on a wound, you know?
Yeah, no. And honestly, take your time, because this is your story.
Yeah.
You've lived through it, and nobody can summarize that experience or that pain, you know, even if, you know, as I'm listening, I can't even begin to imagine what you've gone through. So don't feel that you have to be this strong woman. You have to just power through it.
Yeah.
Don't feel like that. Take your time. It's your story.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, so unfortunately, that one didn't stay around, and it really, really impacted us in a big way in our marriage. People don't realize how badly infertility can affect you. We've had to like rebuild around that, and understanding, you know, who we were before we wanted kids, what we want, imagine a future without children, because that's quite a big reality now. So yeah, from that experience, yeah, I don't really know where I want to go with the whole wanting to have children at this point. We very much looked at adoption and things like that, but we want to be in a place where we're both ready, you know, healed, and not doing things from a place of, oh, I want a child now, so I'm just going to go and adopt, you know. We consider that if we were to adopt, that child's been through trauma. They need to be coming into a happy home environment that's ready to, you know, help them through what they've been through as well. So yeah, that's where we're at with the trying to conceive journey.
I don't even know how to begin to unpack that, to be fair. But you were going through all of this, and you still were doing the business side of things. So just talk us through, you know, what that felt like. Who did you need to become, even though you were still emotionally bleeding, so to say? How did you still show up for your businesses, and then also building a community with Infraian?
So we'll go back to the first round of IVF. Actually, I started DIT, which is a DIY nail business for people to be able to do their own nails at home and get a salon finish. And at the time, it wasn't even because, you know, I'd gone through IVF and I needed to start a business, but just before lockdown, I wanted to do this thing, and lockdown just happened to be right at the time we started the business. And it went really well because people couldn't get to salons and it was really busy and everyone loved it. But at the same time, it did distract me from the pain of like going through this horrible, horrendous thing. I had something to focus on, you know. I couldn't be like, oh, sorry, we couldn't send your order today because I was busy crying all day. You know, I had to, it helped me put my head into something else. And the business flourished, it grew, and it definitely had days where it suffered because of what we were going through.
Yeah.
Some of the colors we have in our collection, we actually hand make.
Oh, wow, amazing.
Yeah, so there were periods where customers will be like, oh, are you bringing out anything new, And it's like, I can't be creative when I'm feeling this much pain. So there were definitely times where I had to pause and, just allow myself to go through what I needed to go through.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was the beginning of that journey. And then just throughout, dips definitely kept me going. If I didn't have that to focus on, I don't know what I would do.
Yeah.
So yeah, that time, that's what kept me going. And then after the failed rounds of IVF, I started Infraian because I wanted women to understand what was happening in their bodies. When you're going to do IVF, you're not told, oh, this is what this hormone does, and maybe prepare your body in this way. I just it was a whirlwind of, oh, this is what my body does, and this is how you track ovulation, and this is what this pain means. So Infraian was born out of trying to educate other people to understand their bodies and realize, oh, maybe that bad period, you actually need to go to the hospital, you need to go to the doctor. Keep pestering them because something might actually be wrong, especially if you want to have kids in the future. Don't keep ignoring, not that we ignore, it's just nowadays women's pain is ignored. We're not listened to because we're seen as, oh, we're just moaning, or women are hysterical. So yeah, I just wanted to empower women, because when you understand yourself, you can go and say, no, this is wrong. I shouldn't be feeling this pain. And this is how my cycle works, and this is this at this point. So yeah, Infraian was born out of the pain of everything
your
I went
experiences.
through. Yeah.
Do you feel that building something gave you a sense of control when everything was falling apart? I mean, just seeing that you were still going through the IVS and the miscarriages, you're told you can't be, you can't get pregnant right now, but you still kept showing up and you were building, and then even started a new business.
I definitely agree. Sometimes when you're going through a tough time, it feels like the world is literally eating you up. It felt like I was sinking, going through those multiple failures and nothing going right. And also kind of feeling like I couldn't control what was happening in my body, So yes, starting a business was definitely like, oh, I can control this, If I just put out the best marketing possible, I can make so much money, and maybe I don't need to have a child, and definitely those thoughts did happen. If I make so much money, then, nothing else matters.
Almost becomes an emotional mask, doesn't it?
Yes.
It's just for the world to see that you are this strong woman, and yet behind things may still be falling apart. You told me while we were preparing for this conversation that you also had moments where you felt, you had those suicidal thoughts. And I can't even begin to imagine, right? Because of everything that you're going through, having to still show up, having to still be the friend, to still be, going to work, to still be the wife, to still be all these other different roles that you were having. Can you help unpack that? And how have you overcome that? Because you're sitting here, you're glowing. But I think those are some of the things that we don't talk about. We're just used to showing up as women and showing up as 100%. But then when we go behind closed doors and it's just us and our thoughts and our heads, when the whole world isn't watching, how did you overcome that?
So I'll start by saying it's not something I've overcome. It's definitely something I lived through. And that's because I've got something called PMDD. premenstrual dysphoric disorder, for anyone that doesn't know what it is. So basically 2 weeks out of a month, 2 weeks before my period, basically the world is ending and nothing is, you can't tell me anything that's positive in that, because I just won't see it. Everything is negative and I just don't want to be here and I want to quit and I want to run away, and sometimes I want to leave my husband, shame for him. He's used to it now. But that definitely got worse after the whole IVF scenario. The hormone has just messed me up. And it's something that people don't talk about in general, People don't talk about the fact that sometimes you have these thoughts. People have different triggers, but for me, definitely it came from, I want a baby so much, and as African women, I feel like we are raised to think you get married, you have kids, maybe you have your career, you have your house, that's how it goes. And then suddenly this thing is taken away, and I felt like, what does my life even mean? I felt really like out of sorts, like a bit uncalibrated, if that makes sense. And that's what drove me to have those thoughts of, I just don't want to be here anymore, I don't want to be here. I don't see the point. I have no future. It's something, it is really something that I still work through, because who am I going to leave my legacy to? Who am I working hard for? What's the point? It's a hard thing to admit. That I've wanted to not be here anymore. Like I just, it's something I go through a lot. And what keeps me here is my husband and my family,
That's amazing.
and other women. I feel like I would have massively done a disservice to, the women that I want to make a difference to if it ended with me not being
there.
here, so that's what keeps me going. But it's
And thank you for
definitely
being honest about it, because it's one thing to think it and then deal with it by yourself, and it's another to be open to say, you know what, I'm actually living through it. And I think that's the best way that you can get support. And I don't know if you're able to talk about it, but what does that actually look like in real life? How do they show up? What does that mean for you and the work that you do? And now even with studying, how does that affect your productivity and how you show up?
To be honest, it's talking to the people around me. If there's someone else out there that's also going through the same thing, you often have these thoughts. Be honest with the people around you. The scariest thing I think for women sometimes is being, they're gonna put me in a mental facility. They're gonna admit me, you know. Or if I express something, it's just because, she's crazy, or like, she just wants to die. But find trusted people, whether it's your mom, a friend that you can call in that moment, that is the thing that's going to get you through, just those little encouragements. They may seem like nothing, but in that moment it gets you through. I don't know if I've answered the question.
No, you have, because I mean, it takes a kind of mental resilience to overcome that, right? Because as a man thinketh, he becomes, right? And it's great to hear that you find, comfort in speaking to people to overcome that, because I mean, I suppose in this country, we always want to keep things with ourselves. We don't want to appear that we don't have it together. But I think it's, really important for that. I just want to go back, you briefly touched on the miscarriage and being African and how you wanted a baby so much. Did you ever feel that your body had neglected you, that you felt abandoned? Because I think it's something we don't talk about a lot. It's just, okay, yes, she miscarried, and then life just goes on, like we never stop. And I think especially in African culture is something that we don't even talk about as much, or how that shapes your identity. How did you then be able to still show up despite that, and how has that even changed your identity and how you see life?
It did feel like my body was broken, like something's wrong. And it does change the feeling of, I am a woman, this is the one thing I'm supposed to be able to do, you know, why can't I do it? But I think it helps that for me, I can speak to my husband and he's open to it. So it's not just all on me, you know? It's okay, so obviously we know I've got endometriosis, he's got male factor issues. You know, we've got something going on, but it definitely did feel like my body's supposed to do this one thing. You know, what else am I, you know, supposed to do? And I've had to rethink my identity very much so. Before that, it would be, okay, so I'm going to be a mom, I'm going to be a career-driven person, these are my, you know.
Goals.
Yeah, like that's what it means to be a woman. Now I realize, someone said to me before, like, well done for getting through this and still being soft.
Ooh.
Because I could be and it's very tempting to shut the world out and be a horrible person because, like, oh, life's done me hard, so I'm gonna be a nasty person. I think that's why I hold my identity now, to be kind, to use the pain to, I'm just more empathetic now. In fact, like, I am grateful I've been through that because I'm able to see other people's pain. Whereas before, I never used to understand what anxiety was like. Come on, just get on with it. You know? But now I get it, you know, so my identity definitely has changed and how I see myself. It's in how I see others. I'm able to take myself out of my shoes and view someone else, you know, and help where I can. I feel like that's a fluffy answer, but it's genuinely,
that's how you feel, and that's what it is. It only has to make sense for you. And as long as you're getting through each day and that's working, I think that's the most important thing. You know, I'd like to ask, what part of you do you think changed forever as a result of everything that you've been through? And I also, sorry, before you answer that, I just want to honor what you said, that you're still showing up and you're still soft, because I think as women, it's so easy for us to kind of like wear our pain and then project it onto others. But the fact that you can still take yourself out of it and still be soft and still be kind and still be honest, it's a real superpower, and I think it needs to be applauded.
Thank you.
But yeah, what part of you do you feel that it's changed forever as a result of this?
Definitely, like I said, like, being empathetic has changed a lot. I used to be a very hard, just stuff everything under the carpet and keep going. You know, I think that comes from being the child of an immigrant parent. They had to work very hard. There's no time for emotions. There's no time for feeling your feelings. You know, they've got to put food on the table. We've got to keep going. But it's changed how I process my feelings. I very much now sit down, feel the pain, and keep moving. And also, I feel that if I don't, somehow, somewhere, we're just passing on more pain to the next generation. It may not be the same one, but by bottling things up, I think even our
Parents.
we'll just keep adding and adding and adding. So yeah, it's changed that in me forever, definitely. I feel the pain. I don't ignore it.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's so powerful to hear you saying that. You mentioned that because of what you went through, right, with the cycles, you started Infraian because you wanted to let other women know, you know, it is okay to go through what they're going through. That voice that made you continue to get up and then launch something impactful, because you had dipped, right? It's making money. How did you then go from dipped to then creating something of impact? What's that shift like? What's that voice that drew you from, like, you know what, that legacy that you talked about, that I'm going to build something for women because of my experience, and how you're turning that pain into purpose?
I think I reached a point where Dipped was doing really well, like really, really well. And I had no money struggles for the first time in my life. You know, I felt successful, you know.
Oh, that's amazing.
Bought myself a car, bought this, you know, like felt good. Then I thought, then what? You know, I don't have a child.
Mm.
Great if I was a millionaire. Like, in no sense am I saying I was now a millionaire and everything was.
Yeah.
But I got a glimpse into what it would
That
be
lifestyle.
like, you know, how it would feel. And I really imagined myself. Imagine money were never to be a problem ever again. What would you do with your life?
Mm.
I really had that moment. And I realized I want to make an impact on someone's life. That's something that actually fills me with joy.
Mm.
And when I die one day, when I'm on my deathbed, I don't want to be like, oh yeah, I just made so much money and it was great, you know. I want to leave something behind. I want to make sure that I change something. It sounds cliche, but I don't want the next woman to keep going through the things we're talking about, because what a waste of my experiences, you know. So that's how, like, I shifted from Dipped to that. Dipped was great. It made money. It's still making money, but I needed something that was purposeful and that was going to impact lives.
I like that. And I think I'm a Christian, so I believe in servitude. I believe that we're all here to serve something. And a lot of people are always trying to start businesses, right? And is, you know, I'm going to start a care agency, or I'm going to start something, because they don't understand that the problem they're fully resolving. So then they, you know, hit debt, and then the company is unsuccessful. But it's incredible to see that you started a business based on a problem that you have experienced. And I think that lived experience is what will resonate. And in building your community, you know, in getting the speaking engagements, is people want to understand that lived experience. And I think it's like just really important to understand the problem. And it's great to see a woman starting a business from a problem they've identified in their life and making it impactful. At the end of the day, it's, you know, what are people going to say when you die? Because we're all heading there. We're living to die, right? You know, people aren't going to say she had loads of money.
Yeah, exactly.
They're going to remember how you spoke to them, what you did for them, the positive change that you've created. So that's really inspiring to see. I want to talk about fulfillment, right? As we're talking about legacy and community. What does that look like for you now compared to Laura 10, 15 years ago?
So fulfillment now, I mean, back then, fulfillment was, how many shifts can I get? What's that bank balance looking like?
Yeah.
You know, but now it's definitely rooted in, am I actually making a difference? You know, when I meet someone for the first time, let's say recently at a family party, and they're like, I've seen you on Instagram, what you're sharing, it's helped me so much. Now I understand my cycle. I need to be kind to myself at this point, and I'm not just being lazy. I'm like, wow, what I'm saying is actually resonating, and people are actually taking it, and it's making a difference. That really does speak to my heart and makes me like
Keeps
feel
you going.
fulfilled. Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, I feel good, you know? So yeah, it's definitely changed a lot. Yeah.
What kind of women are you building the next chapter for?
Oh,
Mm.
right. Is that me or someone else?
For the women that you're helping.
Okay.
Yeah, what do you want? What's the positive change that you're building Infraian for?
Okay, so, right. I don't know if this is a feminist perspective, but
We're a women podcast.
you know,
Yes.
so I see it as, you know, back then, women fought for us to have jobs, be able to vote, and all these lovely things. And I'm grateful for that. But I feel like it's not finished. The work is not finished. And we got into the workforce and we thought, yeah, now I have a job, I can do all this, you know. But actually, we're really struggling. We have so many health conditions and this and that. And, you know, that's because our inner clock, it's called the infradian rhythm, hence the name Infradian, is not built for how the world works. A man's clock renews over 24 hours. When he wakes up, he's got new energy, you know, his hormones work that way in 24 hours. But for us, that same 24 hours happens over 28 days. It takes time for our body to, you know, we go up and down, up and down. But how are we supposed to fit 28 days into 24 hours?
Yeah.
You know?
It's a lot.
That day, I'm so exhausted, I can't even turn up at work. you know. So what an incredible future for future women I'm aiming for is a workplace where we know Jane is on her period today. She can have a day off if she wants to, or work from home,
Yeah.
or I don't know, random name. Susan is ovulating. She has so much energy and she's feeling creative. We're gonna put her on this brainstorming project and she's gonna come up with the ideas for this part, you know. At school, Amy is on her period. She can't take her exam today. Can she take it earlier on a phase that works for her? Brilliant. Give her her exam earlier so she can sit it. You know, the world just needs to acknowledge women holistically. Like, you need to see us in the way that we're built. We're not mini men. We can't fit into the way the world was built. It needs to change. The whole thing needs an overhaul.
Oh, it's so powerful because as you're saying that, I resonate so much with that because when I started my career, I worked in transport, male dominated. So here I was, I didn't even know about this cycle. You're all speaking and I'm like, what? This explains so much because there's days I'm so productive and there's days I'm just like, I can't do this. And I don't think in the workplace there is that space to actually talk about it and or even hear it from you, how you're telling me that, you know, the different phases, you're like productive, you know, you're creative and so forth. And I think that we need more space to talk about that. And it's really, it's so amazing to see that you're championing that kind of work. What would you say to the corporate lady right now who's probably watching this and thinking, how do I go about telling my employer about the Infraian cycle? Or do you think they can talk about it? Is that a conversation they can start to engage? To engage in?
I think if you're really struggling with your cycle, let's say, because some women don't even have an ounce of symptoms. We can't say everyone is really, you know, struggling. But I would say track your cycle first of all, know your body, you know. On my website, I don't know, you know, if it will be up, but I've got the cycle syncing journal. Track your cycle so you know what phase you're in. Then you can go to your manager and say, would it be possible for me to work on this because I feel better at this point? You know, would it be possible to work from home? Would it be possible to just start by having conversations? I think that's the best way, because when we keep quiet about the word period in the workplace, it becomes a taboo. There's not even space to discuss menstrual leave. If possible, speak to HR. Maybe reasonable adjustments. We've all got to start having conversations in our own little corners. You know, because it can be really tough. It can be like, oh, it's just a period, get on with it, or use your sick leave. You know, I ended up leaving my corporate job because I just kept having pains and it was awful and I didn't feel listened to. I didn't know there was such a thing as reasonable adjustments, occupational therapy, you know. There was a process that they could have taken me through. But I'm here to inform you, you don't have to leave your job. Speak to your HR department, be referred to the occupational health therapist. Every workplace should have one. That will guide you to see how they can help you to manage your workload better. But overall, we need to be rioting in the streets.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
Because, you know, if we don't speak up, it's not going to change. Because really,
thank you.
It's not putting money in their pockets. So they're not going to change.
And they're concerned with what puts money in their pocket, and that is a productive employee.
Thank you.
No, thank you so much for that. I mean, it's just given me a different perspective about how I approach different things. It's definitely something I'm going to start applying, and I am going to get into that bag of understanding my body. I think for me personally, from experience, it's just I felt that I need to show up strong. So even if I am on my period, I have no choice. I have to push through. And therefore the burnout, the stress, the anxiety that you're talking about, and the constant just thinking like, am I doing enough? Because you know you're not 100%. But it's just always so difficult to open that conversation. But thank you so much for holding space for us and for sharing your journey with us. I think it's incredibly powerful, and you are such a strong woman. and everything that you've gone through. I can't even begin to imagine how you still show up and how you're standing here looking
Yeah.
this amazing.
Thank you.
And, acknowledging that this is part of my journey, but you know what? I'm still working through it. I'm still figuring it out, because there's an expectation that we need to have everything sorted out regardless of what we've gone through. And clearly being African as well doesn't add to that. And you're still showing up softly, with kindness, with honesty to the people around you. And I think that's just something to be applauded. So thank you so much for joining us. Would you like to tell our guests how they can get in touch, your services, if they want to pick up, either not the phone as such, but how can they get in touch with you?
Thank you so much, Ruth. It makes me realize, wow, I do have something, after everything that I've been through, and I'm on the right path when you lay it out so nicely. So thank you so much for having me on and allowing me the space to share my story. And you can get me on my website. So that's lauratjones.co.uk. And my Instagram handles, Laura Jones, Laura underscore official, Laura Jones underscore official, Infraian underscore Infraian. So yeah, I'm pretty much online everywhere. Like if you just type in Laura Jones, I'm sure you'll find me somewhere.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much, Laura. And just before we close, I do like to wrap up with a diary entry. Just what would you say to the woman who 10 years ago is going to go through this journey, to the woman who's still figuring it out, to the woman who's bleeding while building, to the woman who chooses time and time again to keep showing up despite everything that they're going through? What would you write to her, or what would you say to her? And look in the camera and say that.
Okay. So to the woman that's going through infertility, IVF, you kind of feel like you're overwhelmed at the moment, be kind to yourself. You don't have to be strong. You don't have to push through what you're going through. Give yourself space to cry. Give yourself space to feel how you're feeling. Because when you feel your feelings, you'll be able to heal. But when you stuff your feelings down, you may have an outburst and not be able to manage life in the same way and show up how you want to. So really be kind to yourself, and just realize it's part of your journey. This is going to add to your book, which is going to be incredible. And yeah, just be encouraged. This is part of your story. It was meant to be there, as hard as it seemed. But yeah, you will be an encouragement to someone else one day.
Thank you. I think that's so beautifully put. Thank you, Laura. Thanks for tuning in to Her Executive Diary. If you love this episode, please subscribe, like, comment, and share with another woman who might need to hear this advice. You can find us at Her Executive Diary on Instagram and on YouTube for more behind the scene footage. Looking forward to catching you in the next episode, where ambition meets real life, and we sit down with another incredible woman.